Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive into the world of lo-fi music.
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing actually how this genre that started out, kind of niche has really blown up and become this global phenomenon.
it really is.
And people are using it for focus, for relaxation, even as a sleep aid.
Yeah.
But what is it about this music that's really resonating with so many people?
Well, I think what's really interesting is how its popularity has coincided with this feeling of digital overload that I think we're all kind of experiencing. It's like
Right.
our brains are just craving a sonic refuge.
Yeah, like hitting the pause button on the lumber for a little while.
Exactly.
So before I dive into, Wynk's approach to this, let's unpack lo-fi itself a little bit.
Yeah.
What exactly makes this music lo-fi?
Well, I mean, first of all, the term lo-fi is short for low fidelity.
Right.
And that refers to the fact that it embraces imperfections in the sound.
Okay.
So think vinyl crackles and tape hiss,
Mm-hmm.
those kind of warm, fuzzy textures. But beyond that, it often features these very mellow, jazzy melodies, down-tempo beats,
Yeah.
and an overall sense of nostalgia.
Right.
It's almost like a sonic time capsule,
Yeah.
taking you back to, a simpler era.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting those chill vibes just listening to you describe it.
Right.
But it's not just about the sound, right?
No, absolutely not.
There's a whole culture that has kind of sprung up around lo-fi, especially online.
Absolutely. It's become this global community of creators, listeners,
Yeah.
connected through this shared love for a certain sonic aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also very closely tied to visual art as well.
Oh, interesting.
You see those animated loops of like, a character studying or gazing out of a rainy window,
Right.
often set against these cityscapes, all kind of bathed in these warm, muted colors.
It's like a whole visual language that goes along with it.
It is. It's an entire visual and sonic language that has developed.
That's so cool. And it's not just for students anymore. Back in the day, it was like, oh, the students are listening to this to cram.
Right.
But now it's like everyone from creatives to, anyone trying to deal with the craziness of the world.
Yeah.
But is there science behind this?
There is.
That it can help with focus and relaxation?
There actually is some research that's been done.
Really?
Researchers at the University of Helsinki found that listening to lo-fi music can actually lead to a decrease in cortisol levels,
Oh, wow.
which is our key stress hormone.
Right.
And it seems like these steady, repetitive beats can help regulate our heart rate and our breathing and lead to this sense of calm and grounding.
So it's not just a feeling, it's actually physiological.
It is. It's actually impacting our physiology.
Wow, that's wild. And what about focus?
Yeah.
That was the other thing. Like, is there any...
Well, the focus part seems to have something to do with those repetitive patterns that we were talking about.
Oh, okay.
There's this fascinating theory called the entrainment effect.
Oh, interesting.
And it suggests that when we listen to rhythmic music, our brainwaves actually start to synchronize with the beat.
Oh, wow.
And because lo-fi often has these very consistent mellow beats,
Yeah.
it can create a kind of sonic flow that actually helps block out distractions
Oh, that's interesting.
and keeps your brain engaged in whatever task you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's almost like giving your mind a gentle nudge in the right direction.
I love that. Yeah, like creating a sonic bubble to kind of filter out all the noise and the stress.
Exactly.
And it's not just about, being more productive, right?
Yeah.
I hear people talk about lo-fi as a way to unwind and decompress, almost like a form of sonic self-care.
It is about creating a space for yourself,
Yeah.
a sonic sanctuary
Totally.
where you can just be,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be so powerful in a world that's constantly demanding our attention and energy.
Okay, so we have this genre that's tapping into this very, primal need for calm and focus.
Yeah.
And we have some research to support it.
Yeah.
So now let's shift gears a little bit.
And talk about Wynk music and their take on lo-fi with their Lofi Biosphere.
Yeah.
So what sets this apart from, just throwing on a lo-fi playlist on Spotify or YouTube or whatever?
Well, I think Wynk is really going beyond just providing tracks.
Oh.
They're actually trying to curate an entire experience.
Interesting.
It's almost like stepping into a carefully designed soundscape.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that.
Well, one way they're doing that is through their selection of curated playlists,
Mm-hmm.
and they're incredibly diverse. Instead of just generic categories like you might find on other platforms,
Okay.
they have playlists for very specific moods and activities.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, they have rainy day reflections for those cozy introspective vibes.
Oh,
Or coding mode with tracks designed to help you focus during those late night programming sessions.
interesting.
They even have playlists for things like, dealing with heartbreak
Oh,
or just
yeah.
celebrating like those little everyday joys. So they've really thought about this.
They really have.
It's not just, slapping a bunch of tracks together.
No, they've really tapped into the emotional nuances of the genre.
Yeah, that's a level of thoughtfulness that you don't often see.
You don't.
Okay, so what about the music itself?
Yeah.
Are they just featuring any lo-fi, or are they being a little more selective about the artists and tracks?
Oh, they're definitely curating the sound.
Okay,
And they're really focusing on high-quality productions.
gotcha.
And they have this, like, amazing blend of established lo-fi artists that people will recognize,
Mm-hmm.
and then some up-and-coming producers.
Oh, cool.
So you're discovering new sounds, but you're still getting those familiar favorites.
All right.
And they're not just focused on the big names.
Yeah.
They're really showcasing a lot of independent artists from all over the world.
Okay, so they're supporting the community, but also expanding its reach.
Exactly.
That's cool. But it's 2025. Everybody has curated playlists, right?
Right.
So what else is Wynk doing to make this unique?
Well, I think they've taken this whole concept of sonic escape to another level
Okay.
with their 247 lo-fi radio stations.
Oh, wow.
So you can literally immerse yourself in this calming sonic world
Anytime.
anytime, day or night, no interruptions.
So it's like having a personal lo-fi DJ.
It really is. It's like having your own personal lo-fi DJ on call 247.
That's amazing. And what about the listening experience on Wynk? Is
Yeah.
it easy to use?
They've designed it to be incredibly user-friendly.
Okay.
Even for people who maybe aren't as familiar with music streaming platforms,
Right.
the interface is very clean and intuitive.
Yeah.
So you can easily find the playlists or the radio stations that fit your mood.
Right.
And they have this really cool feature where you can actually personalize your listening experience
Oh, wow.
based on your preferences.
So like,
So you can actually adjust the tempo,
okay.
the instruments that you want to hear more of,
Wow.
even the level of, those lo-fi imperfections that we were talking about.
So it's like you're creating your own personalized soundscape.
Exactly. You're in control.
Okay. I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
We talked about the history, the culture, the science,
Hmm.
and the unique features that make Wynk's approach stand out.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
But before we wrap up this first part, I'm just curious, like, what stands out to you the most about lo-fi music?
What I find most fascinating is how it has become this global language of peace and introspection
Yeah.
in a world that is constantly bombarding us with noise and stimulation.
Right.
It's this reminder that slowing down and finding these moments of quiet
Mm-hmm.
can be so powerful for our well-being
Yeah.
and for our creativity.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes the most profound experiences come from the simplest things.
Absolutely.
Just sitting back, closing your eyes, and letting yourself get lost in the sound.
It's true.
We're going to be taking a deeper dive into the psychology of lo-fi.
Yes.
And explaining some of the ways that Wynk is utilizing this genre to enhance well-being.
It's going to be fascinating.
But first, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned so far.
Sounds good. So welcome back.
As we've been talking about lo-fi music, it's clear that there's this real depth to this genre.
Yeah.
It's not just about, chill beats and nostalgic vibes.
Yeah.
Like, we've uncovered this whole world within a world.
It really is.
And you mentioned the research that's backing up these claims of
Right.
lo-fi's, positive effects.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, like, what else are scientists discovering about how lo-fi impacts our minds and bodies?
Well, one area that's particularly fascinating is how it seems to tap into our brain's default mode network.
Oh,
And this is the network that's active when we're daydreaming or reflecting or just letting our minds wander.
right.
And it turns out it's actually essential for things like creativity and problem solving and emotional processing.
So it's like lo-fi is giving our brains permission to take a break from all that, focused, task-oriented thinking.
Exactly.
And just be.
Yeah, just be.
And by allowing our minds to wander, we often, stumble upon new insights, make unexpected connections, tap into a deeper sense of self-awareness.
Absolutely. It's like
Yeah.
it's creating the perfect conditions for those aha moments.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
It's like lo-fi is this, like, sonic bridge to our subconscious.
I love that. Yeah.
And I know you've touched on this before,
Right.
but I'd love to, like, explore the emotional aspect of lo-fi a little bit more.
Okay.
Why is this genre so good at evoking feelings of nostalgia, comfort, even a sense of melancholy?
Well, one theory is that it has to do with the fact that it uses a lot of familiar samples and chord progressions,
Right.
and that this taps into our sort of collective musical memory.
Okay.
So it's almost like these sounds are evoking a sense of longing for simpler times,
Yeah.
even if we haven't actually lived through those eras.
Right. Like, even if we weren't alive in, the 90s,
Yeah.
to hear those, like, samples from that era still evoke something.
It does. It's very powerful.
It's like a Sonic Proust's Madeline,
Yes, exactly.
triggering these deeply personal memories and emotions.
It really is.
And I've noticed that, like, a lot of lo-fi incorporates sounds from nature, like rain, wind, bird song.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
Well, I think there's definitely a connection there.
Okay.
Studies have shown that listening to nature sounds can reduce stress and promote relaxation.
Right.
So by blending those natural sounds with the mellow beats and harmonies of lo-fi,
Yeah.
you're essentially creating this immersive sonic landscape.
It's like bringing the peacefulness of nature indoors.
Exactly. It's like a little digital detox for your ears.
Which is very appealing if you're, living in a bustling city.
Oh, absolutely.
Or just spending a lot of time in front of a screen.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, give me some nature.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the benefits of lo-fi music,
Yeah.
how Wynk music is making it accessible.
Mm.
But I'm wondering, are there any potential downsides to listening to lo-fi all the time?
That's a really good question.
Like, could it become too much of a good thing?
I think, as with anything, balance is key.
Right.
While it can be incredibly beneficial for focus and relaxation,
Yeah.
I think it's important to vary your listening habits.
Okay.
Overexposure to any one type of music
Mm-hmm.
can lead to habituation, where your brain just becomes less sensitive to its effects.
It's like anything else, you don't want to overdo it.
Right. You want to make sure you're getting a variety of sonic nutrients.
I like that, like a well-balanced diet.
Exactly.
And speaking of balance, let's circle back to Wynk Music and their approach.
Okay.
You mentioned that they're going beyond just playlists and radio stations.
Yeah.
So what else makes their Lofi Biosphere so unique?
Well, one thing that really stands out is their focus on personalization.
Okay.
They've developed this really amazing AI-powered engine
Oh, wow.
that analyzes your listening habits,
Yeah.
and then it recommends playlists and radio stations
Yeah.
that are tailored to your individual preferences.
So it's like having a personal Lofi concierge
Pretty much.
who knows your taste better than you do.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it goes beyond just like suggesting music.
Right.
They also offer personalized sleep soundscapes.
Yes.
That adapt to your sleep patterns.
It's amazing.
So if you tend to like wake up easily,
Mm-hmm.
it might incorporate soothing nature sounds or white noise to help you stay asleep.
Right.
Or if you have trouble falling asleep,
Yeah.
it might feature binaural beats or guided meditations to promote relaxation.
Exactly. They really thought of everything.
That's really cool. It's like they took all this science that we've been talking about and translated it into this incredibly personalized sonic experience.
They've really done a great job.
And it's not just about individual preferences, right?
Right.
They're also using technology to make lo-fi more accessible for everyone.
Absolutely. They have this great feature called Sonic Landscapes,
Okay.
and it allows you to adjust the intensity of the lo-fi elements
Interesting.
in real time.
So like if you find certain tracks too distracting, you can dial back the beats
Exactly.
or the bass.
Yeah, or if you really want to get immersed,
Yeah.
you can crank up those vinyl crackles and tape hiss.
Oh, that's fun.
It's really cool.
It's like you have all the controls at your fingertips.
You do.
Like you're a DJ almost.
You are. You're the DJ of your own experience.
And they've even partnered with organizations
Yes.
that provide music therapy
They have.
to make lo-fi accessible to people with sensory processing sensitivities
Right.
or those who just find traditional forms of music overwhelming.
Yeah, it's really great.
They're really committed to making lo-fi this tool for well-being for everyone.
I think so.
I think this really highlights like the evolving role of music in our lives.
Yeah, it's not just entertainment anymore.
It's not. It's this powerful tool for enhancing our mental, emotional, and even physical well-being.
I agree.
And Wynk Music seems like they're really at the forefront of this movement.
I think they are.
Using lo-fi as this vehicle for creating these personalized and therapeutic sonic experiences.
It's not just curating music, it's curating states of mind.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've explored a lot of the features and innovations that Wynk is bringing to the world of lo-fi.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Oh,
I want to bring it back to you, the listener.
Yes.
Have you experimented with lo-fi in your own life?
yeah. We want to know.
How has it impacted your focus, your mood, your overall well-being?
What's your lo-fi story?
We would love to hear your thoughts, and we'll be back in a moment to explore some additional resources
Yes.
and discuss where lo-fi might be headed in the future.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to our deep dive into lo-fi.
It's been a fascinating journey.
Yeah, we've gone from those basic elements of the genre
Right.
to the cultural significance and even the science behind it.
It's been quite a journey.
And what strikes me is how lo-fi has carved out this space in music.
Yeah.
It's not just listening, it's creating an experience of feeling.
A whole vibe.
Like a sonic philosophy almost.
Yeah, embracing the imperfection.
Mm-hmm.
Finding the beauty and simplicity slowing down.
And Wynk Music, with their Lofi Biosphere, has tapped right into that. They're curating a way of being.
Yeah, more than just curating music.
Providing a framework, a set of tools to make lo-fi your own.
Whether you're using it to focus or relax or sleep better, or just creating that calming sonic environment.
It's like they've taken this genre that was born in the underground and given it this platform to reach a global audience.
Definitely. And it's not just about individual well-being either.
Right. You mentioned the community aspect.
Right. They've created these online forums and they even host virtual events.
That's so...
where lo-fi enthusiasts can connect,
yeah,
share music, discuss the impact it's having on their lives.
It's a global network of people united by the sound.
It really is.
As we look to the future, where does lo-fi go from here?
Well, it seems like it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
You know, we're already seeing lo-fi influences in other genres.
Oh, interesting.
Like pop and electronic music, even hip-hop.
Wow. And with all the advancements in technology, like AI-powered music generation.
Yeah, who knows what kind of soundscapes we'll be experiencing in the future.
That is exciting to think about, but I have a feeling no matter how it evolves, it'll stay true to those core values.
Right.
Simplicity and perfection and the connection to human emotion.
I think you're right. It's a genre that speaks to something very fundamental. That longing for peace connection, a moment of respite from the chaos.
And that message will always resonate.
Especially in a world that's becoming more complex and overwhelming.
If you're looking for a way to slow down, to tune in, to reconnect with yourself,
explore lo-fi.
Check out what Wynk is doing with their Lofi Biosphere.
Find your own personal lo-fi journey.
And tell us about it.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
What are your favorite lo-fi artists?
What are the ways you're incorporating lo-fi into your life?
Share your thoughts.
Let's keep this conversation going.
Until next time.
Keep it lo-fi.